Well, in the middle of all this, the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has reportedly asked his top general, Randy George, to step down immediately as Army Chief of Staff. Pentagon officials haven't given a reason for George's departure. The highly decorated veteran served in Iraq and Afghanistan and has held the top Army post since 2023. His removal is the latest in more than a dozen firings of senior U.S. generals and admirals since Hegseth took office last year. Chris Kalenda is a retired U.S. Army colonel and now consults on strategic leadership. Colonel Kalenda, welcome to DW. Now, why was the Army Chief of Staff fired?
First of all, thank you for having me. And second, just want to say that my heart goes out to the missing pilot and the pilot's family, and hopefully that pilot will be recovered soon. In terms of why was General Randy George fired, it's hard to say. There's been no official word on why that was. Now, the speculation is that they disagreed over a promotion list to one-star general. There were 5 people in particular that Secretary Hegseth wanted removed from the list, and presumably there was a disagreement between the Army and the Secretary about that, the wisdom of removing or retaining those officers, and so that was believed to be the proximate cause. But there is a bigger issue here, which you mentioned. I mean, there's been a purge of the senior military ranks. And we in the United States are firm believers in civilian control of the military. There's nothing, it appears not to be anything illegal about firing or purging the senior military ranks by the secretary. He's got the authority to do that. Now, of course, just because you can do something doesn't always mean you should do something.
How are Trump and Hegseth reshaping the U.S. military?
Well, they've done some welcome things, I should mention. So under the previous administration, there had been a lot of investigations against senior leaders that had been weaponized. So somebody would make an unfound claim because they had an axe to grind against a leader, and that leader would automatically be suspended. Oftentimes, this investigation would go on for years, only to be found that it was frivolous. So one of the things that they've done that's been welcome is to eliminate that weaponization of investigations. And quite frankly, General George was one of the ones that figured out how to reduce the weaponization of these investigations so you don't have all this frivolity going on. So that's one way. Now, the bigger picture in terms of reshaping the military is the strong leaders I've noticed, whether it's in the military, whether it's in business, strong leaders welcome disagreement. And they recognize that disagreement does not equal disrespect. In fact, when you look at every innovation in business and in military, in politics, it all started with some form of disagreement. So strong leaders surround themselves by strong people who are willing to offer their opinions, and those leaders welcome that disagreement because they understand its value.
Yeah.
Sadly, the opposite is also true of leaders who may be weak and uncertain.
How disruptive is a move like this in the middle of a war? What impact is this going to have on the war in Iran? Briefly, if you can, because we're running out of time.
I think it's a very limited, immediate impact. The Chief of Staff of the Army doesn't have much of a role in current military operations. The more troubling is the longer-term impact when you set a culture in which disagreement is not welcome. Pretty soon you start getting very awful military advice. And that's troubling not only for a current conflict, but future conflicts as well.
That's strategic leadership consultant Chris Kalenda. Thank you so much for your time. Great speaking to you today.
Thank you for having me.